Drying, one of the oldest methods of food preservation, is gaining in popularity. One of the biggest advantages of drying or dehydrating food is that it removes the water that yeast and bacteria need to grow. If dried properly, foods will not spoil. There are various ways of drying foods, including the sun, conventional oven, or electric dehydrator. Because of high humidity, it is not recommended that we dry food outdoors in Missouri. Oven drying is probably the most convenient method because most people have an oven. It isn't, however, a very energy efficient way to dry foods. It's also difficult to maintain the low temperature needed for drying in a regular oven. Oven-dried foods are more susceptible to scorching and tend to be darker, more brittle, and less flavorful than foods dried in a dehydrator. An electric dehydrator will give you the best, most consistent results. Although the initial investment for an electric dehydrator is fairly high, it does a better job of maintaining the low temperatures needed for drying. Drying removes the moisture from the food so that bacteria, yeast, and molds cannot grow and spoil the food. It also slows down the action of the enzymes but does not inactivate them. Because drying removes moisture, the food becomes smaller and lighter in weight. Some foods, such as jerky, fruit leathers, or dried fruits, can be eaten dry. Other foods, like vegetables, may have to have the water added back when ready for use. The optimum temperature for drying food is 140 degrees Fahrenheit. If higher temperatures are used, the food will cook instead of drying. When the food cooks on the outside and the moisture cannot escape, case hardening can occur. The food will eventually mold. Thus, the drying process should never be hurried by raising the drying temperature. Low humidity aids the drying process. Food contains a lot of water. To dry food, the water must move from the food to the surrounding air. If the surrounding air is humid, then drying will be slowed down.
3, 2.
Drying times will depend on the type and amount of food, the moisture content, as well as the room temperature and humidity. Some foods will take only a few hours, while others may require days of drying time. If you're going to attempt oven drying, start by using an oven thermometer to test the oven temperature at its lowest setting. If it cannot maintain a temperature below 200 degrees, then it's too hot for drying food and you'll need to choose another drying method. Place food in a single layer on a tray that is narrower than the inside of the oven. This will allow air circulation. Only use the bottom heating element, never the upper broiler element. Also, prop the door open at least 4 inches. For an electric dehydrator, different foods with similar drying times and temperatures can be dried together. If you're drying vegetables that have a strong odor like garlic, it's best to dry them separately. Determining when food is dry will take some experience. Err on the side of caution by over drying rather than under drying.